Hello, welcome to Local Anesthetic Podcast, your regular injection of mind-numbing local news. This is episode 359 now, and as always, I am joined by Rob. How are you, Rob? I'm hoping to hear you now in good health, because for a long time you've been under the weather.
Yes, I think broadly I am. Lyra has slightly regressed in terms of her sleeping, so now she's having about 2 bottles a night. So, you know, in terms of health, that's slightly improved, but the sleeping issue has got worse. So, you know, it's give and take, Alex.
Do you think her sleeping difficulties are getting worse because of the change in the weather? And what I mean by that is I mean that it is getting, getting lighter in the evenings. It's lighter in the evenings, and that will be disturbed. You know, it's a disturbance.
I think it possibly is, yeah. I mean, obviously, the mornings are lighter as well. I mean, for me, I'm delighted. I don't know why, but this year seems to have particularly affected me. Yeah, I don't know if I do have that seasonal affective disorder, but I'm very pleased. And also, we've had some lovely weather recently, so it's nice the fact that things are getting lighter. But I do think in terms of her circadian rhythms, why has there never been a band called Circadian Rhythms? It seems like that's a missed opportunity.
Oh my God, Rob. Oh my God. Because of the word rhythms in there. Okay, Rob, you and me, so nobody else can take it. We're forming it. It might be a long time before we release anything, but Rob and I are now in a band called Circadian Rhythms. Oh my God. That is brilliant. And I'll tell you what, there'll no doubt we've got to look out for a phrase, either in this episode or the next LA Extra, that can be our first album under the name Circadian Rhythms. We've just got to listen out for it. We'll know it when we hear it.
It will come up, yeah. So, yeah, no, I think, so I think that might be affecting her sleep, but you know, apart from that, mate, yeah, we're all good. How are you doing?
I'm okay, mate. I'm just very tired. I'm feeling very tired all the time at the moment, all of this, but, you know, I feel like, you know, with what you were saying about the seasonal affective disorder and all of that, I would imagine that, I think a lot of us are probably beginning to realise now what these last couple of years have actually been like and done. Because when you're in the middle of a thing, something as unique as a pandemic, which none of our generation or the generation before us have had to live through, when you go through that, there's a lot of that, I think adrenaline sort of takes over and you're sort of getting through it. But it's only as you're getting, I feel like we're at the fag end of it, although apparently COVID rates are massively on the rise and everything else. But you know what I mean is it is fatiguing, and it's only after a certain point in time that you realise this is exhausting. The whole thing has been exhausting, and it's actually still exhausting, I would say, because things aren't back to normal. If they were, why are trains still running once every half hour? And you wonder whether or not, you know, like train services, they've really cut back their regular services. So my local train station used to be once every 15 minutes in the morning, and now it's once every half an hour. And you wonder, are you ever going to go back, or are you just going to use this as an excuse now?
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I was listening to a Radio 5 Live podcast, and they expressed what I'd said on the podcast, that 2020 and 2021 were just molded into one year, and last year was 2019, and I'm still very much of that mindset. There's just this collective decision that the last 2 years we acknowledged it happened, but we don't want to actually remember it. It's like, you know, it's selective amnesia.
Yeah, you're right, but there's that, Rob. But there's also that feeling of that, you know, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, as it were. You think things are improving, and then there's the potential for World War III all around you. That is, I mean, we don't acknowledge what this is like. To be under this, to the point, I was reading everything about Ukraine, watching everything about Ukraine when it first kicked off. Now, when I visit The Guardian, in the first 20 pages about Ukraine, I don't read one of them.
No, I just scroll past it, yeah. Which is awful, but...
Yeah, it's fatiguing, it's exhausting. Like the other day, like the areas around Chernobyl were on fire. What the hell can you do? All you can do is read it and go, oh, okay.
So that's happening.
Yeah.
Well, there's I was listening to an album by, I've been talking to Steve about this, but we were listening to this fantastic Half Man, Half Biscuit, and one of the opening tracks of their album is the light at the end of the tunnel is the light of an oncoming train, which I think in this situation is very apt.
That's a brilliant line, yeah. Well, Rob, let's get on with this. Is there any news?
No, actually, I think it's been quite quiet. I mean, people are being very kindly commenting on the page, but there's nothing. And also, we've had a lot of new subscribers to our Facebook, so welcome to our Facebook followers. But yeah, no, I think it's we're good to crack on.
Right. So I am going to dazzle you, Rob, with you know how I often start off with 3 stories?
Yes.
I've got the trifecta, the classic trifecta. If you imagine, right, Rob, you know when you go to like a pizza parlor or a pizza place and you order like their classic recipe or whatever it is that might just contain, well, think of a margarita. What have you got, Rob? You've got the bread, you got mozzarella, you got tomato.
Yeah.
Think of it like that. I'm going to serve up a classic local anaesthetic dish, 3 local news stories, 3 British papers. Let's go through them. And we're starting, Rob, with the quintessential shitty local news story from the News Shopper.
I'm loving this, Alex. I'm delighted to hear this.
This is 23rd of March by Imi Share. And the headline, KFC Surbiton's customers mouldy bread in mini fillet burger. And that is your staple, Rob, local news story, isn't it? Let's be honest.
It doesn't get any more quintessentially local anaesthetic than that story.
A customer of the KFC branch in Surbiton was shocked, Rob, shocked to find her mini fillet burger was served to her in mouldy bread. Yasmin, who wishes for her full name to be kept anonymous, went to the restaurant in Brighton Road at around 1 p.m. on Saturday. Rob, what do you want to say?
Alex, we've had this so many times when people... Well, I mean, first of all, she's obviously contacted the paper to say that, you know, she'd undergone this experience, but why would you want to remain anonymous? It's not like, I don't know, KFC are going to start a vendetta against her, is it?
Well, you say that, Rob, but that's what I was about to say. What a lot of people don't understand is that KFC, well... Colonel Sanders, Rob, behind that smiling, grandfatherly-like demeanour, has a band of vicious goons who work for him, who go after, Rob, anybody who criticises KFC. And I take that back, because obviously that is litigious, and Colonel Sanders, as far as I'm aware, is dead.
I thought you were about to suggest that Colonel Sanders never actually died, he's just gone dark. You know, he's gone off the grid and is slowly taking down his enemies one by one. Wendy's, Ronald McDonald...
Was Colonel Sanders a real person, Rob? And when did he live? Was it like the 1800s? Was he around in the 1900s? Was it?
Well, I think it must have been, but maybe even to early 2000s. But I believe he was a real character. Let me keep talking, Alex, and I'll look it up.
A real character. What is going on? Hang on, no. Look, can you look up was Colonel Sanders real? Well, I want to get to the bottom of this. I think he was around in the late 1800s.
Yeah, no, he is a real person. It's Colonel Harland David Sanders. He was born in 1890 in Henryville, Indiana.
Oh, I got it right, Rob. I just said late 1800s. Yes.
And he died... Fucking hell. He died in 1980.
So he was like 90?
He was 90 when he died, yeah. He married twice, but we know that's fine.
Okay, so my theory... I love the idea that when Colonel Sanders, like before he died... and he was requesting his wishes for his, funeral and everything, he said, I don't want to be buried, I don't want to be cremated, I want to be battered.
Well, he did.
Deep fried and battered.
I love the fact that he actually died in Louisville, Kentucky. And by the way, Alex, I don't know if you
was he attacked by a gang of chickens?
He just overcome by chickens.
Yeah.
He also starred in 3 films.
What were they?
Feature-length films. For the first one is Hell's Bloody Devils. That was in 1970. The Big Mouth in 1967. And the last one, which sounds very intriguing.
Why I Hate Chickens.
Chickens Must Die. I know it was called Blast Off Girls, which is 1967. I don't know.
We need to look that up, Rob. That sounds like a porno.
It's only got 4.4 out of 10 on IMDb. So, do you want to hear the synopsis? A sleazy record promoter tries to make it big with a local Chicago garage band and plans to make them famous whilst keeping the profits for himself.
So we could look up on YouTube what this guy looked like, and okay, why was he?
There's loads of pictures of him. If you Google Colonel Sanders, there's loads of pictures of him.
Why did he start up a fried chicken?
I don't know. I mean, without further investigation, Alex, I couldn't tell you. One person's questioning whether he was actually a colonel, which is fair. I think.
He looks exactly like the
like the character on like the KFC branding, basically.
Yeah, I mean, okay, right. Anyway, Rob, we're getting distracted here. We want to hear about this woman's mouldy bread.
So absolutely.
But I think your point was, why does she want to remain anonymous? Exactly. Anyway, she ordered, Rob, 1 mini fillet burger and one fiery small wrap, but soon after leaving the branch, she found mould on the bread of the fillet burger Yasmin had planned to eat the mini fillet at the time and save the wrap for later, but was stopped in her tracks when she spotted the off bread. Yasmin told your local Guardian, so it isn't even a news shopper exclusive, I've been to this KFC numerous times and never had a problem, but I did go back immediately. A kind team leader apologised straight away and said I could have anything I wanted for free. Now, that's a bold claim. Anything you want for free. Sex?
Yeah, because... See, why did you go there? I was thinking that if I went there, I would go, okay, I'll have 10 Zingatara meals, 15 ice creams, basically just order an entire banquet and then just, maybe sell out the boot of your car.
That's a good idea. Didn't we have a story not that long ago, Rob, a few months ago? I think it was in Australia. Or was it in Nevada about those people, New Zealand, those people who were smuggling fried chicken across the border?
KFC, yeah.
Across the border, yeah. Anyway, a kind team leader apologised straight away and said I could have anything I want. They did. So, a kind team leader apologised straight away and said I could have anything I wanted for free. They didn't even seem surprised or even look at it. I'd been in there 5 minutes before, so I felt embarrassed to have to take it back. I never usually complain. The mini fillet burger has been ordered from the £1.99 snack menu. I got one of those a couple of years ago, and it was very small. Yasmin added, it was 100% mould, and I just wanted people to be aware. The KFC spokes...
What does that mean, 100% mould? So she's saying the entire roll was mould?
No, she said, no, it's a turn of phrase, Rob. She's saying 100% it was mould. Do you see what I mean?
Did she get, how did she do, did she get that tested? Did she say, they came back and said, I'm sorry to say there's only 70% mould and maybe 30% dirt?
Well, exactly. A KFC spokesperson said, this doesn't look up to the Colonel's high standards. The Colonel's dead.
Is that a genuine statement?
Yes.
Right.
We have strict quality processes in place across all our restaurants to prevent this, but it can sometimes happen with fresh ingredients. That being said, we never want to leave our fans disappointed. Fans? I'd say customers.
Yeah.
So the team did offer Yasmin a replacement meal to help make things right. The least we could do. So, Rob, comments on the story. Now, it's been a long time, Rob, since we've had comments from a new shopper story. And obviously, they used to be our bread and butter. Let's see if the same old people, the same old...
Jippo Joe, The Wall.
What, Paul Erith?
Paul from Erith, yeah.
Okay, so it looks like we might have some new people, but good names. Old Fisherman just says...
Right.
Crap fried chicken equals KFC, maybe, possibly. Ghost 2 says, break the green bit off, you'll be fine. Lardy Lars says, I reckon it would improve the taste, personally. Smuggler says, you reap what you sow, eat at fast food outlets and expect crap. Old Fisherman comes back, fast food does not have to be crap. It's the people that run it, along with the dirty word, profits. Thrown away, less profits, simple as. Gibberish.
Anti-capitalist statement there.
W Wonder says KFC is served in a bucket. What do you expect? And a very English wreck says Putin's Brexit plan. This is proof that Brexit brought reduced food standards. There were also warnings about Brexit-induced inflation, massive price rises and mass sackings, all happening now. More Brexit inflation and interest rate hikes to come. Then a Brexit recession, all part of Putin's Brexit plan, aided and abetted by useful idiots. I shall just leave that hanging in there. Right, Rob, get ready for one of the best stories, local UK British-born local news stories we've had in some time.
Okay.
This is extraordinary. It's by Rebecca Lockwood from the Lancashire Live.
Right.
I'm so pleased that something in me, Rob, something in my gut said to me, go and visit the Lancashire Live. And I did, and I found this story. Lake District Chippy owner tells complainers to stick their battered sausage up their arse.
Oh, brilliant.
And unfortunately, Rob, the headline doesn't begin to even graze the surface of how good this story is.
Right.
The owner of a fish and chip shop in the Lake District has responded to several online reviews by publicly telling unhappy customers to fuck off elsewhere if they complain.
That's a bold move.
The world of TripAdvisor and Google reviews means that unhappy and happy customers can leave honest reviews of any premises or service they have paid for freely and publicly on the internet. Now, Rob, can I just say to you that the world of TripAdvisor and Google reviews is a good episode title. I love it.
Yeah.
And will also get us a lot of hits, probably.
Yeah.
Anyway, so his place, Rob, is called the Old Smithy Fish and Chip Shop at the Slack in Ambleside, and it's previously been called, in quotes, the best fish and chips in Ambleside, according to visitors.
I mean, what does that mean? I mean, I haven't stopped in Ambleside. I've driven through it. It's not the biggest place, so I don't feel that's a massive accolade because I can't imagine there's that many there.
Well, there's one. I think,
right.
Probably. Anyway, its owner, Gary, isn't too happy about reviews saying anything less than it's the best. In their Google reviews, Gary takes time to reply to nearly all of the reviews on the old Smithy, good and bad. And I looked at them myself. You can look at them yourself. To one happy customer who said Gary was a hero serving food, in quotes, on par with Michelin star restaurants, Gary replied, "No, sorry, Michelin star is another level of cooking, but thanks for giving us 5 stars. Regards, Gary." So you can see they get a lot of positive feedback, Rob.
Yeah.
On another occasion, a customer left Gary a shining review that said the fish and chips were good and the place to go in Ambleside, but only rated the old Smithy 4 out of 5 stars. Gary replied, "Thanks for a good review. How do we move it to a 5? Regards, Gary." However, it's on the lower ratings that Gary is keen to put customers in their place. In some responses, Gary will even call reviewers fuckers.
Okay.
A month ago, the old Smithy received a 2-star review from a user named Ben. I don't know if that's Ben from Halifax, one of our old listeners, Rob. Could be. He felt the fish was, in quotes, cooked poorly in sunflower oil, was, in quotes, weedy in taste, and advised prospective diners to, in quotes, avoid this place. Gary replied, "Oh look, this is on Google reviews, Rob.
Brilliant.
Oh look, another fucker thinks they know best, where you can stick your opinion up your arse. You're wrong. We don't use sunflower for oil. Who the hell would, you complete idiot? As for the rest of your rant, I'm really not interested in your opinion, as you're just one of those annoying fucks, so do us all a favour and fuck off." He ended his reply with, "Thanks. Thanks, regards, Gary, the owner of a very well-respected fish and chip shop, and trust me, I know how to fry a fucking fish, as I fry it in excess of 100,000 fish in 1 year, and I've been in this trade for 20 years, so your entire review is so wrong, but you're so ignorant, you can't even see why." By my back of a, fag packet calculations here, he says that he fries in excess of 100,000 pieces of fish a year.
Yeah.
Right? That would mean, Rob, he's serving up 273 portions of fish a day.
Right.
Is that possible?
Hang
on a minute, right? Okay. How long would a fish and chip shop be open? Be open from about 12, let's say 12 hours, right? At a push.
Yeah, that sounds about fair. Yeah.
That means he's doing 22 pieces of fish an hour. Constantly. I mean, he might be, but my God. Anyway.
Alex, oh my God, I'm sorry. I've just gone onto the Google reviews. The award for being the most pathetic piece of scum goes to Shaw for his originality. What a complete loser. This is Gary's response. Oh look, another fucker. That's when you read out. Oh my God, Alex.
Rob, let me finish. A week ago, another customer under the name Master TT left a 2-star review that claimed the food served at the old Smithy was bits and offered to show Gary how to cook fish and chips. Gary responded, writing, "Thanks, Master Beta. I feel very sorry for you being such a sad twat. I really don't need any advice off you, I promise. Our repeat customers, of which there are thousands, appreciate my efforts. I'd be very annoyed if I changed my technique now after nearly 20 years of frying. Basically, it's like this. I couldn't give a fuck. I couldn't give one fuck of how you think I run my business." Usually, to his typical sign-off, Gary ended his response to the unhappy customer with, "Regards from a no-name. Oops, I do have a name. It's Gary. Let me guess. Yours is Sir Wankstain." Sir Wankstain. He responded to a user named Kyle who left a 1-star review that claimed the customer service was appalling after they were outright told they would not be served battered sausage. This is one of my favourites, Rob, so prepare yourself. His reply.
Okay.
He said, "First, Kyle, go back to school and learn how to spell, you dropout twat. You wanted battered sausage. You were told very politely that no, sorry, we just had plain sausages and we were too busy or it's closing time. So you can take your unbattered sausage and stick it right up your arse. Regarding your appalling customer service comment, we always respond to fuckers like you within 4 hours. Regards, Gary." And then he added, "PS, fuck off elsewhere in future." Lanx Live tried to contact Gary at the old Smithy, but he did not answer the phone. Now, Rob, I understand you've got some reviews there that are hot off the press. When's the most recent one you've got there?
Well, Alex, I'll do the most recent one. This is from 14 hours ago. Okay, it's a 1-star review from a guy called Will Porteous, who says, "Went there about 2 years ago. Was by far the worst fish and chips I've ever had in my life. It was so bad that it still brought up in conversation to this day. Didn't bother leaving a review because it seemed petty. However, after seeing the owner's response to other bad reviews, it became an obligation to the people of the UK. If only he put as much effort into his cooking as he did his Google review replies. Nice point. And Gary responds, you are one sad bastard. So pathetically unbelievable. It's thanks to scum like you that online reviews are virtually meaningless. The customers we serve appreciate our efforts and take zero notice of idiots like you. Regards, Gary. Alex,
now, Rob,
I'm going to say right now, is this a publicity stunt to generate interest in his...
I don't believe so. This has been going on for some time. I mean, this story goes back to October 2021.
Jesus Christ.
Right, Rob, I'm going to say it now. I'm happy to do it later. On Google, I'll log in under LAPodcast and we'll leave a review of his fish and chips.
Oh, please do that.
And we'll see if we get a response.
I'd love... Yeah, please do that. And then let's do that. Maybe also, I mean... Yeah, I'm not sure if there's any way we can drop a link into the website. But yeah, no, let's do that. Let's do that.
That's a good idea. There's one comment. The truth will out, says Gary's sausage is clearly well battered. Now,
it doesn't mean anything, but I love it.
No, I promised you a trifecta of stories. I have gone over time, but I've got to finish. Luckily, it's short. It's from the Manchester Evening News. And Rob, I'm going to put on some soppy music because this is a love story, Rob. It's by... Now, Rob, this is a very short story. Apparently written by not one, not two, but three journalists for the Manchester Evening News.
Fine.
Because, in Manchester, you need that many people just to write a paragraph. Bradley Stokes, Daniel Smith, and Liv Clark. It's from the 25th of March 2022. Headline, Mum searching for man whose name she had tattooed on her bum on Magaluf girls' holiday. So I'm really just putting this out there, Rob, to see if any of our listeners might be able to help.
It's like the column. I'm not sure if it's still in the Metro, but the misconnections.
God, I loved that. I loved it. Right. A mum is looking for a man whose name she had tattooed on her bum a decade ago during a girls' holiday abroad. Kaylee Williams, 32, made the spontaneous decision when she visited Magaluf with 4 friends in 2012. She got the tattoo after the friends bumped into a group of lads who were on a stag weekend together. A man from the group offered to pay for her to get his name on her bum. The next day she woke up to find the name Daniel Ford tattooed on her left bum cheek, the name of the man who paid for the €30 tattoo. She's also posted a picture of herself, of her
arse,
shapely and ample-sized derriere, wearing a thong with the name Daniel Ford.
Okay.
Realising that Daniel Ford had returned home to Cardiff the day after, where else would he have been from? She has never ever seen him since and wants to get back in touch. Kaylee, a support worker from Hereford, said, I was on holiday in Magaluf and I'm a bit of a party animal and I was just having fun with my friends. On one night out we saw a group of lads from Cardiff. They were all dressed as babies getting a tattoo. You could just...
Where do you want to start with it? I mean, Alex, you should have included this story.
That's what Drone Strike should be for, Rob.
You did your state of the... Not when I say state of the union, but your state of the UK address. This is the story you should have featured in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Rob. That's what we should have called it. It was one of the... When was that? Was that on LA Extra or was that on... Oh, it expanded.
Expanded, yeah.
It was a few episodes ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was one of the group stag weekend. They had diapers on and everything. I was walking past.
Oh my God.
And I was drunk. Can I just say... Rob, can I just say 3 journalists working for the Manchester Evening News wrote this story and they couldn't even spell past right, as in if you're walking past somebody.
Look, Alex,
they've got the wrong spelling for the word past. They've written PASSED. I was walking past and I was drunk. These are 3 journalists from Manchester. I mean, I might have answered my own question.
But Alex, they went round to a house. One has to write the story. One had to take the picture of her ass, and the other one had to make sure that the curtains were closed.
Very good, Rob. You know what it is? I don't think there are real humans writing these stories. It is that they're trying out that theory that if you put monkeys in a room with typewriters and leave them for long enough, eventually they'll come up with the complete works of Shakespeare. In this case, this is the story they've come up with. Anyway, They had diapers on and everything. I was walking past and I was drunk. Out of the blue, something popped into my head and I thought, I will have a tattoo. Quite a lot of people do when they're in places like Magaluf. The guy who I got chatting to in the group said, why don't you have my name tattooed on you? I'll pay you for it. At first I thought he was joking, so I did and he paid for it. It must have been about €30. It was so random. The next morning I realised he was staying at the same hotel as me, but was leaving that day. I mean, this is just a heartbreaking classic romantic tale, Rob. That was the last I ever saw of him. It was not a holiday romance type of thing. The tattoo was simply a yes, let's go for it. I don't regret my tattoo at all. I'll never get rid of it either. It's a nice little reminder to our girls trip away. My partner at the time just used to laugh it off. Be aware that that's in the past tense, Rob, my partner at the time. Now, after 10 years and refusal to get rid of her Daniel Ford inking, she has decided to try and find him on social media. She added,
What? Sorry, Alex, why? For what reason? There is no holiday romance, as she said. Why is she looking for him? To what end?
That's a really good question. Well, she says, 10 years on, I'm thinking I should try and find him. It's his name on my bum after all. We have a Daniel Ford, but I do not know if it's Daniel Ford or the Daniel Ford. I'm waiting for him to open the message. Be good to get back in contact with him just to see if he remembers. If I do manage to find him, I have no idea what I'll say to him. Maybe I'll offer him his money back for paying for the tattoo. Who knows? Rob, what's wrong with this woman? And he's...
Alex, just imagine if you're not the right Daniel Ford and you receive a message on Facebook saying, hi. Do you remember we met together
10 years ago?
A holiday in Magaluf. And funny enough, you bet me to get your name tattooed on my arse. Do you want to see my arse? No? Okay. Well, look, let's meet up.
I would like to be clear that Daniel Ford is not related to the great actor Harrison Ford, or indeed the founder of Ford Motors, Henry Ford, Rob, or any of those other Fords. Alex? Well, yes, because his name is spelled Forde. So.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Rob. Stories.
Yes, so 2 stories, both from the Bristol Live. The first is from the 9th of March, 2022. The story is by Tristan Cork, who is the senior reporter. And the headline is, Man baptised in flooded roundabout underpass in South Bristol.
I love what? So why was he baptised? Well, I get, we don't have the Jordan River here. Hey, no. Hang on a minute. Your daughter is finally going to be christened later in the year. Is this the spot, Rob?
No. I've chosen a church for it to happen, Alex. I don't know why. Call me an old traditionalist, but
can I just say, as I am the godfather, can I baptise her personally? A full immersion, like take her down. Like we could do it in Forest Hill swimming baths, which isn't far from. When I just take her under the water.
I obviously appreciate the offer, Alex, but I'm going to have to politely decline. Plus, you probably put the candle out.
Oh right. Can I?
You get a candle.
Can I wear white robes, which is what people would have done in those times?
Right. Sure. Yeah. If you want to walk down Sydenham High Street wearing a full white robe,
I'll change into it in the toilets in the church.
Right. Okay. You have my blessing for that. Yeah. Please feel free.
Okay.
I would leave the white pointy hat at home. I know that's part of the costume, but make sure you don't wear that.
Fuck off.
So there is a video, by the way. If anyone wants to see it, please check it out. But this was the scene at the flooded underpass inside the Hartcliffe Way roundabout on Sunday, March 6th, as a member of South Bristol's newest ministry was baptised in the flooded rainwater.
Hang on a minute, Rob. Rob, hang on a minute. Our band, Circadian Rhythms, album title, The Flooded Underpass. It's something quite...
Oh my God, there is something about that, you're right.
It's something enigmatic, but we'll keep it on the list. Anyway. Continue.
Or baptised in the flooded underpass.
Yeah, it's a bit wordy, but
yeah, it is a bit wordy. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So the man who has not been named was filmed being baptised by Hartcliffe man B.J. Walsh, who set up the Set Free Ministry in the River of Life Christian Centre last November.
Sorry, I've got nothing. I love when you're driving, especially there's quite a few of them in southeast London where I am, and you drive around and there'll be some old building that's been repurposed, and there'll just be this sign, and it will have it'll be like the last church of the sacrament of the testament of the new era of Jesus Christ. It goes on forever, and you're like, it's a cult. I mean,
Alex, I think it's unfair to say it's a cult. I mean, just because they've only been going since November does not mean it's a cult.
Right, okay.
He's been going 4 months now, Alex. That's an established church.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're right.
So a video of the baptism has gone viral on social media with Mr. Walsh saying he'd been contacted by people all over the world. The 2-minute video shows an outdoor baptism in the flooded underpass of the Hartcliffe Way roundabout taking place on Sunday afternoon.
So what? Sorry, I don't understand what's going on. Why is he being baptised? Why didn't they go to some other? Why?
Alex, we'll come on to that. You're jumping ahead. Okay. So Mr. Walsh said the decision to do the baptism there was meant to be. It was God's will, he told the Bristol Live last week on my 40th birthday. My wife put up a band on those railings you can see in the background, obviously in the video. But I didn't see it until later. And when I went there, I saw the water down in the roundabout. And so basically, she put up a banner for his birthday to say happy birthday, Mr. or BJ. I don't know what his initial stand for. And on his way to see the banner, he saw the water in the roundabout. And as he says, that would be a great place to baptise someone. Then last week I picked up my mate and we were driving around the roundabout and he looked down at the water and said, I want to be baptised there. So it was God's will, really. It puts all the pieces in place. It was freezing cold, that water, but if the puddle is deep enough, you can be baptised anywhere. The setting doesn't matter. So Alex, he picked up his mate. They were driving around. They happened to drive across the roundabout. Obviously, it had been flooded, and his mate turned to him and said, BJ, I've had a revelation. Baptise me in this roundabout right now.
Why is he being baptised at 40? Did he miss the boat when he was young? What's happening here?
Well, no, the BJ is 40. It doesn't. Unfortunately, the mate is anonymous. We don't know how old the mate is. But the video does show that it was a full immersive baptism with BJ on wearing a hat and praying for him before and after, which is really nice.
And giving him CPR. Is there videos of that? It goes horribly wrong.
So a bit of background to BJ. BJ Walsh is well known around Bristol and the wider West Country as a street preacher. He even got up a stepladder in Morrison's and Hartcliffe, on the top of a car outside Cabot Circus, and a postbox in Cheltenham to preach.
The only thing is, Rob, we're laughing at this, but I just want to say, if Jesus had lived in Bristol, he would have also used the equivalent of the he would have used whatever was around. He would have preached in Morrison's, and he probably would have baptised people in the flooded underpass.
You're right, Alex. You're right. I mean, and also, this guy did have. He's very open about the fact he had a drug addiction, and Christianity helped.
The guy who baptised him, or the guy who was baptised?
BJ. I need to stop saying BJ.
BJ had a drug addiction,
and Christianity obviously helped him overcome. And now he's formed his own church and obviously baptises people in flooded roundabouts. So look, moving on, Alex. I think we need to leave that there. Now look, this is my next story is also from the Bristol Live. As I said, it is from the 25th of March by Ellie Kendall. Alex, there are non-stories and then there's this.
Right.
Customer disgusted after seeing crow eat dead rat in retail car park.
No, it's a cycle of life, isn't it?
It is
the circle of life, Lion King.
So a customer has been left disgusted after witnessing a crow eat a dead rat in a car park of a Bristol retail park.
Is this near where the baptism happened? I'm just.
It doesn't say. That's a good question. It doesn't say, unfortunately. The customer, who wished to remain anonymous, don't know why, had been using the McDonald's drive-through service at and the Avonmead even retail park in Bristol on Wednesday, March 23rd, between 1:30 p.m. and 2 p.m. in the afternoon. After ordering themselves a milkshake and an ice cream, they spotted the crow tucking to its own lunch in broad daylight. Speaking to Bristol Live, the customer said, "I felt sick. I couldn't stop thinking about it. It's disgusting. I'm not sure if I even want to go back. My whole day is ruined thinking about it. People are just going about ignoring it. The area should be cleaned. It's not nice. No one wants to see things like that. It's disgusting." Alex, whose responsibility is it to clear away dead rats from a car park?
I would have thought the business owners.
Yeah, quite possibly, actually, yeah. I mean, so in which case, why didn't she go back after ordering her ice cream and McFlurry just to went back into McDonald's? Excuse me, there's a crow and a dead rat in the car park. Could you do something about that, please? It's really put me off a meal. And then maybe she got some sort of compensation. Alex, Why has she gone to the paper with this?
Well, that's true of many of these stories, Rob, that we've been asking in the decade that we've been doing this podcast. A decade. We've been doing this podcast for 10 fucking years. Sorry, Rob. I know I guess. Sorry, and I'm happy about that. But sorry, just about having a mental breakdown there at the realization of the passing of time. I don't know. Why do a lot of people? I mean, it's never occurred to me in any walk of life, no matter what's happened to me, to think I'm going to ring up my local newspaper and tell them about it.
Yeah. Just also to pick up on your earlier point, as the car park isn't technically part of McDonald's remit, the fast food chain was unable to comment on the matter. Bristol Life has approached the owners of the Avon Mead retail sites, Realty Income for comment.
All I'd say to this woman is better that the crow ate the rat than a dead rat was just left lying around in a car park. I mean,
yeah, she was eating her lunch. The crow was eating their lunch. They could have had a picnic.
Exactly. It's a touching story. It's a touching.
What's the matter with her?
Okay, Rob. It is time now. Then the hallowed section of this podcast, Rob. The listener story of the week. Who is it from? And where's it from?
It's from Kyber. Now he writes to us. Or wrote to us, I should say, past tense. That's passes and PAST.
Thank you.
To remind us that obviously that we've recently celebrated the anniversary of a seminal episode of this podcast, From the Valley to the Abyss. It's been 10 years since we recorded that episode.
Wow. Can I just tell people, From the Valley to the Abyss was a bit of an experimental podcast Rob and I did, only 5 episodes in, which went on for an hour and a half and was split into 2 stories. One, the story that you covered, Rob, was about wasn't he some roofer or bricklayer or some scam?
It was this band of sort of cowboy roofers.
That was it. And then I had found this story about this safari park down in Ainsford, Kent, called Eagle Heights, and I'd found all these stories of various things going wrong at this safari park, which I read, which I put in an order, Rob, didn't I? That they gradually escalated, and eventually escalated in somebody being attacked by a cheetah. And I don't think we've ever laughed more than on that podcast. I can still listen back to that whole Eagle Heights thing, and it just makes me cry with laughter every time. But anyway. Yeah, so thank you. That's so kind of you, Kyber, to remind us of that. I had no idea.
Yeah, absolutely. So, there's 2 things I should say, actually. Kyber also mentioned it as Easter's coming up, and we do a listener story special. I mean, quite possibly, actually. But also, so in regards to this story...
But we won't do it under pressure, Kyber.
We'll do it if we like it, if we want to. We don't, we don't bow to pressure from I mean, we should do. Some of them pay for this. Anyway, look, he says, sorry to say we all missed the big milestone 10-year anniversary of this story, aka Eagle Heights, the saga begins. I'm just re-listening to The Valley to the Abyss in its honour. Now... Oh,
God, I'm going to have to do that later, Kyber. I will do that later.
So, now, I can't remember whether this story started everything off, but you might be able to tell me. So he's just sent me a link to the news shopper. So this amazingly, this podcast is being bookended by the news shopper, which hasn't happened ever, I don't think.
It will have done when we started out, but yeah.
Maybe, yeah, okay. So this story is from the 5th of March, 2012, by Kelly Smale, who featured on this podcast many times. And the headline...
Yeah, this is bringing back memories. This is amazing, Kyber. I'm getting all nostalgic, yeah.
So vandals cause £800 worth of damage to a sign at Eagle Heights in Ainsford.
Yeah, now I remember this. I want to hear it all again. All I remember is that he went mental and this is where we speculated he was sleeping with a shotgun in a van or something. Okay, let's... This is for anybody who's new to listening to this podcast, this is the mental owner of Eagle Heights, a man called Alan Ames, who I believe disappeared off to Africa to start a sister safari park over there and has never since returned. Anyway...
So I think this is the first time in this podcast we've ever covered a story twice.
Because didn't he say in Africa that he was writing a book and that book was called From the Valley to the Abyss? That's where we got that from.
Yes, exactly.
And we said it was, we speculated it was about his own spiralling journey into depression.
His own mental breakdown. Because it's not, the title doesn't inspire hope, or it's not, from the valley to the abyss, you're going from one thing that's quite bleak, so like to something else that's probably even bleaker.
Yeah.
Anyway.
A good metaphor for life, Rob, and the journey.
Especially at the moment. Yeah. So, a wildlife park owner is in despair after vandals caused £800 worth of damage to a sign over the weekend. The 2-foot by 4-foot welcome sign to Eagle Heights in Ainsford was ripped from its wooden black backboard, bent in half, and stuffed behind the original sign which was put up 15 years ago.
I remember all of this. The only weird thing is, Rob, if we were to listen back to when I first read this story out, I've got to say two things. One, there's something crazy going on here because this is a story that I once read out that you're now reading out.
Yeah.
2, it's 10 years later. 3, it's the first time ever I think we've ever repeated a story on local anaesthetic.
Yeah, it generally is.
And also, if you were to listen back to the original, our voices, Rob's voice was a lot higher because it was before your balls had dropped, Rob, if you remember.
Well, as we speculate on this podcast, Alex, when I started recording this, I was a child, and a lot of people ask questions about why
a grown man
was recorded with a 7-year-old, but we thought it worked.
But it's worked out in the end, Rob. Age is but a number.
And you've got your DBS check now, so everything's fine. So it happened between 11 p.m. on Friday, March 2nd and 7 a.m. on Sunday, March 3rd. Eagle Heights owner Alan Ames told New Shopper, "It's another annoying incident. It's just so unnecessary. I'm worn out and I've had enough. Everything we try and do is just prevented." The 56-year-old added, "I just despair, really. We try and try and try, but as soon as you get up, someone knocks you down again." It does get a bit disheartening. I wouldn't mind if I was making millions, but I'm not. Alex, I forgot how good this was.
I know.
And this is where it comes into the spate of incidents. So the family-run business was the victim of thieves in 2009 when a minibus was also stolen before being abandoned after Mr. Ames gave chase. That's where we came. That's right.
He ran off.
He lay chase in his van, after grabbing his shotgun. He says there was also a spate of break-ins and thefts with chickens, ferrets and ducks were stolen. Oh, God.
I think I might have speculated they were being stolen for sexual purposes, but I can't remember what I said.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. The recent damage will set the family back in their fundraising, which not only goes towards their rescued animals, but also for many of the worldwide charities it supports, such as the cheetah conservation in Namibia.
So that's where he went off to, right?
That's where he went off to, yeah. It's a bit late now, but if anyone wants to call the Kent Police, you can. There's the reference numbers on the article, but it's 10 years ago. I'm not sure. Maybe you've got some additional information. Who do we know? That's the end of it, really.
Oh, and I just remember, I to read out. Well, maybe one day I don't know. If we'd have thought of this, we could have revisited this and read out the sequence of stories again. But no, look. We all know that too much going down nostalgia lane is not good for you. It's better to go back to the original source. Episode 5, it's on the website, it'll be on your podcast app. It's called From the Valley to the Abyss, and somewhere around halfway through the episode, you'll eventually get to my sequence of stories about Eagle Heights, which, Steve, of course, is our roving Eagle Heights correspondent and does update us, Rob, if any more news comes out. Thank you, Kaiba. Right. Thank you, Steve, as well, for all your work you've done around this over the years. And look, Rob, we bring this episode of LA Podcast to a close. We look forward with a mixture of eager anticipation, yet some degree of trepidation, to our next episode, which will be 340.
Yes.
As we move ever...
No, 360, Alex, 360.
360, I do apologise. As we move ever more forward,
I thought we'd agreed we'd bin this feature off.
Oh, okay. Just like that, we move ever more forward to our next episode, which will be episode 360. We can be found on our website, LAPodcast.net. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/LAPodcast. We're on Twitter @LAPodcast. We're on Spotify. You can listen to us on all your various podcast apps. Hit subscribe, leave us a review, do all that good stuff. Here's the most important thing I'm going to tell you today. If you love this podcast, if you love what you've heard, if you've been doing this for 10 years now, as a whole back catalogue, it would take you years to get through it, literally. But if you want more, then go to Patreon, patreon.com/LAPodcast Extra, LAPodcast Extra, and that extra is EXTRA, as you would expect. And there you can find our bonus episodes, which are called LA Podcast and Extra Jab, which is different music, different format. We love doing it. We're up to 20 episodes roughly up there now, and it's £2 a month. As Rob always says, less than a cup of coffee. £2 a month. And you'll get all the episodes delivered straight to your inbox. They're exclusive to Patreon. You can't find them anywhere else. And we'd love to have more Patreon subscribers on there. We appreciate everybody who's subscribed already, but we're loving doing it. And as I say, there are 20 episodes there already, which you'll automatically get access to, and all the episodes that are released each month. Okay, we're going to be back in a week's time with LA Podcast Extra episode number 20. And then a week after that, we'll be back with a regular LA, which will be episode 360. We've really enjoyed your company. Thank you very much for listening. God bless.
And keep it local.
Local Anesthetic Podcast is now on Patreon, so sign up now to receive exclusive LA Podcast and extra jab bonus episodes to your inbox every month. These can't be found anywhere else, and if you want to hear them, go to patreon.com/LA Podcast Extra. More stories about stupid people doing stupid things. Teacher rushed to hospital after shoving USB cable in his penis.
No, fuck off, he didn't.
He inserted the cable to measure the length of his penis out of sexual curiosity.
What pleasure could you possibly derive from this? I mean, apart from trying it this evening.
More stupid people doing more stupid things. Parents ordered to pay 43-year-old son after getting rid of his pornography collection.
I just feel bad for the parents, because it seems like the one thing their son has managed to get right is the fact that he has a vintage pornography collection. That's the only thing going on in his life.
Well, inside the boxes were films such as Lesbians in Tight Shorts, University Co-ed 25, and 1001 Erotic Nights.
What can I see? What I'd like to know is, what was it? It was a University Co-ed 25. Did he have the whole University Co-ed series?
And of course, the strangest news stories you've ever heard.
Man left baffled after finding whole potato in his bag of kettle chips.
What?
Dr. Boyce, 38, was watching the deers rut in Leicestershire when he felt peckish and opened a bag of crisps.
What a strange... Was he having a wank? Was he? What a strange... So what a strange thing to include in the story. So the journalist went over there. They're like, tell us what happened. He goes, well, I was watching some deers have sex out of my window.